It's time for Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. Todd Marquardt, attorney at law in Texas. If you're a millionaire or a thousandaire, Talk Law Radio is now on the air. Call in with your business law question, your elder law question, veteran aid, Medicaid, build a business to get paid. 210-308-8867. Or ask a question online at marquardtlawfirm.com. That's MARQUARDT lawfirm.com. And now it's Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, on the radio, on podcasts, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on talklawradio.com. Today we're going to be talking about jury trials with attorney Alex Vollmer and attorney Shannon Roberta Salmon-Haas.
Tell it.
We just need one more name, Shannon.
Yeah, you can put my nickname in there if you like.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about jury trials, but also coming up is Labor Day, and it's my argument that God created Labor Day. In Exodus chapter 20, verse 9, it says, 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter, your male servant or your female servant, or your livestock, or the sojourner who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. That was Labor Day. We have Labor Day every seventh day. And, of course, that's not the holiday. The government instituted this Labor Day holiday. I'll find that later. I'll talk about it later in the show. But do you guys agree with me? Did God create Labor Day?
God definitely created the Sabbath, for sure.
Right.
There's a hustle culture right now. I've seen this going around the internet where people are saying, I work all the time. I work 24/7. And that's a really common, and it's not biblical. I mean, you do you. I can't force my beliefs on you, but rest is written into our DNA, in my very humble opinion. It's good for us.
And I think that hustle culture is a lot about ego, too. So pride.
Yeah, I heard some pride in that statement, yeah. But that being said, I mean, we are both here, if we were Orthodox, we wouldn't be in not compliance.
Saturday's the seventh day.
Right, so here we are. Forgive us, Lord.
Yeah, well, Jesus worked on the Sabbath, too. So there's some precedent there for that. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show, because we're going to talk about y'all's experiences in juries, but we want to give some background to the audience. Some people might not know who you are, so we just want to give a brief introduction again, and we'll start with you, Shannon. Shannon is not only an attorney, but she's a social media influencer, and you can find her on Instagram, Shannon Roberta San Antonio.
You're really nailing that.
Well, you like that way.
Ferrocarril. Can you say ferrocarril?
I'll have to practice that.
Carretera.
But tell us about the mission of your Instagram.
I want to hear that.
The mission for your Instagram.
I feel like, thank you. I don't have any idea if I'm right or not. It's kind of an experiment, but I feel like everybody is so disconnected right now. And as a community, we used to be smaller, and we used to know each other more. We had a town square where we would meet and talk with each other. And the more we are separated and in these camps where if you don't think just like me, you're the enemy and I'm going to hate you, the more people are in those polarized positions, our society's just crumbling. We're getting to a worse and worse position, hate, evil, mistrust, just all the negativity. So I'm trying to do a very positive space, stay very positive, just kind of emanate. A lot of people are not really into religion these days, but you don't have to shove a gospel of Jesus Christ down somebody's throat, that's going to be really offensive. But you yourself can just always be positive and emanate like a loving culture. So it's my little... I feel silly now just saying it out loud at least, but great. I'm trying. Do you remember that scene from that movie from the 80s from our culture? You're younger than us. But that scene where he says, who is it? Is that Breakfast Club? He says, pathetic and sad but social. I can't remember the quote, but that's what I always think of when I look at my social media. Like, hashtag I'm trying. Trying
awesome.
My best.
Yeah. Well, part of a mission of Talk Law Radio is for people to see how one lawyer, this guy, lives the Christian faith.
Oh, beautiful.
Because I had somebody that was really interested in that, was really confused about how an attorney could be Christian or how a Christian could be an attorney. And, that sounds bizarre to most of us, but so I wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I've run into that. You're an attorney and you're a Christian. How come that doesn't exist in the same space?
You can be an attorney and have personal morals.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Right. Okay, so Alex, you started as a prosecuting attorney for Bexar County District Attorney's Office, and you served as a criminal defense attorney. Now you're working in estate planning for business owners, and you do some inheritance disputes. Tell us, what else should people know about you?
I have a lot of experience in trial, a lot of experience in court, settling things, resolving things without going to trial, which is how most things end up. There's always an alternative, almost always an alternative. So we always try to get things done that way first. It's in everybody's best interest. It's the cheapest way to do things, and it's typically how things are going to end up anyway.
I represented a son of an older person because his brother was named as co-power of attorney. And so, I
don't recommend that.
One son would put dad in assisted living, and the other son would bring him home.
Yeah,
they had a different opinion.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah. And so then one son accused the other of stealing dad's money. And so my client brings me this grocery sack of receipts and stuff and going through it, and it seems like everything had been for dad. Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't communicate. Yeah. And so that was causing the dispute. But the other son had this attorney that was like a bulldog.
Right, yeah.
And wouldn't even talk to me on the phone.
Well, that's not ethical.
When I had discovered what I thought was an easy solution,
right.
Having a family meeting about how the money was truly being spent.
Exactly, yeah.
But it had to keep going, because she was filing things and I had to respond to it.
Oh, yeah.
So it just goes to show you that some attorneys want to settle things, want to solve the problem, whatever it is. Other attorneys just want to fight.
Yeah, and my preferred approach is try and settle it, try and get a resolution that's good for everybody. But if it's time to fight, it's time to fight, if you're not leaving us any other choice. But, you brought up a good point of people having, co-powers of attorney. One of the discussions I have with clients that are considering litigation often is one of the things they're fighting about is, I want to be the executor. I want to be in charge. And I ask them, do you really? Because you're the one that has the duties under the law. You're the one that people get to complain about. You're the one that gets sued. Mm-hmm. So, we always have that discussion. Be careful what you wish for. You might get it.
Right. You might want to let the other person go through all the headache.
Be in charge. I'm doing air quotes.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that for the people that are listening on the radio. Yeah.
Todd,
so what is your experience, Shannon?
May I ask, when you run into those opposing counsel that won't accept an easy, obvious solution and they're wanting to fight, do you think it's just their personality, or is it money-based? Or, you know what I mean? If you got a big retainer...
I think that there are probably some follow each of those philosophies. Some just want to win, you know, whatever the dispute is.
Some were just trained that way.
Yeah. Well, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking more about trials by jury, by judge. Stay tuned.
Secure your future today with Marquardt Law Firm. Gain peace of mind with a free consultation, crafting wills, trusts, and vital estate plans, guidance on elder law, Medicaid, veteran benefits, and more. Shield against legal hassles with their defense against Medicaid estate recovery. Trust in their proficiency for business law solutions, contracts, incorporations, and more. Empower your tomorrow. For info, go to marquardtlawfirm.com. That's marquardtlawfirm.com.
9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Welcome back. Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. We're talking about juries today. We'll be telling you the difference between a trial by a judge or a bench trial and a jury trial. So let's go back and make that point again about why or why not you would want to settle things early or take it to trial.
Well, we're always trying to do what's in the best interest of the client. I think that should be our number one concern. And often that isn't a fight. So that's always my concern, is what's going to get the client where they want to be and where they need to be.
Yeah, and sometimes we have to be candid with them about what they may have already done that we didn't advise them to do. We have to help them stay out of trouble sometimes. Okay, well, let's talk about the differences between a bench trial and a jury trial. And you might have to talk a little bit about criminal versus civil, too. Both of you have been on both sides of those areas. Shannon, why don't you go first? What's the difference between a bench trial and a jury trial?
Oh, I hope you're not looking to fill a lot of time with me, because it's just either to a jury or to the judge.
And so, but what's the difference in strategy?
Yeah, good point.
Big difference.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
No.
Sometimes if you have a judge and you aren't 100% sure what way they're going to go, if they're favorable to your client or not, or maybe you've got a judge that ran on a law and order, like if you're in a criminal trial and you've got a really tough, strict judge that has to have a certain record so they can keep running on that platform, you maybe would want to take it to a jury, because as we were talking about earlier, a jury is somewhat of a wild card, right? So you'd have to really be sure a judge was not going to go your way. You're really putting all of your eggs in one basket when you go in front of a judge. It's one person. But, if you've known that judge for a long time, they run with it, yeah.
Yeah. Judges are going to be a lot more predictable because you know their personality, you know how they're likely to rule on things. And if I'm going to go, okay, if I really like my case, if I really like my facts, if I think it lines up with the law, I want a bench trial. I want to go in front of the judge.
Okay.
Can
you explain why?
Yeah, because they're going to apply the law correctly. They're not going to get confused. Hopefully apply the law correctly. They're not going to get confused like a jury might, because jurors are not attorneys. Appeals to emotion aren't going to be as effective. And, with a jury, you do not know what they're going to decide is important. That's the wild card there is, in jury selection, we try really hard to learn as much about the jurors as we can. But at the end of the day, even if you think you kind of know somebody's personality, if they say, hey, in your trial, you didn't bring up that person signed that document on Saturday instead of Sunday. Well, I had no idea you would think it was important. It wasn't important to us. But, it.
And so how is a jury different between criminal and civil?
Can I ask something about
Yeah, go ahead.
Why would appeals to emotion not work with the judge as much? It's a human person.
True, but I think that while I think that they can work, I think that just to a lesser degree than on a jury. Because I think as attorneys, judges, attorneys, we're trained to think a certain way. And I think that sort of overrides some of that emotional reasoning.
Well,
more than a regular person.
I have a story. Back in the olden days, I was representing indigent criminal defendants. And I was assigned to this one young man. He took off all his clothes and jumped in the San Antonio River down at the Riverwalk. And that wasn't his biggest problem. His biggest problem was that he was a member of the armed forces. And so if he gets in trouble in court, he also gets in trouble back at the base.
Right.
And so he appealed to my emotional reaction to that, and I went to the prosecutor and tried to plea bargain his charge from a B to a C.
Sometimes that's all you can do.
And the prosecutor said, no way. And so I said, okay, no deal then. I'm just going to ask the judge to drop the charge. And he did.
Did you file a motion or just oral?
Shannon, I hardly knew what I was doing back then.
You were baby attorney?
Yeah.
But you had a very sympathetic client, a veteran.
Yeah.
And then it kind of begs another question. Why was a veteran indigent? That's...
Oh, I don't know.
He was
young
active
man.
Duty?
Yeah, active duty.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, that's if you're going to appeal to emotion, you better have a sympathetic client. Yeah, that's a good point.
But I didn't know anything about the judge.
Yeah.
You're talking about knowing the judge.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been a big mistake.
Can we clarify? We don't mean knowing the judge, hey...
Oh, yeah.
Being
definitely.
familiar with.
Yeah, not like some kind of sneaky
Not
thing going on.
Not friendship or anything.
Just like you've been in front of this person before.
Right.
And,
You have data based on previous interactions.
Data. Thank you. Exactly. You have a reason to think they're going to be rational and reasonable. Is there any other details? Because that is fascinating. Was he having a mental health episode?
No, he was just intoxicated.
Wow. And was he okay? Because there's a mythology among natives that of San Antonio that if you ever were to touch the San Antonio River, you would die immediately? Like he'd lived?
He was okay, yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Myth dispelled.
I had not heard that one.
Right.
Oh, no.
So
but you're from here,
I'm
right?
from here, yeah.
But you should never take off your clothes in public because the criminal charge is pretty bad.
Really? But you were in misdemeanor court.
Well,
Right, but it still could be considered a sex crime, and you have to report
the weirdest things
to your neighbors.
Oh, my gosh.
The weirdest things, all of a sudden people find themselves lifetime reporters. Like if somebody decided to use the bathroom in public and they thought they were being discreet. Mm-hmm. I think everybody's heard about those.
Well, if you haven't, don't use the restroom in public.
Yeah.
Well, but if you're unhoused, you don't have that option, and they won't they won't let you into places a lot of times.
They're in between a rock and a hard place, I guess.
Many rocks and hard places.
Well, that was a good story. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's move on to criminal jury versus a civil jury. Is it the same number of jurors?
A lot of it depends on the level of the crime. Misdemeanors are 6, felonies are 12. Our trial that we had a couple of weeks ago in a will contest was 6, and that was in a district court. But I think the biggest difference between juries in criminal and civil, they all come from the same pool of potential jurors. The biggest difference is how you do jury selection, how you do what we call voir dire. What kind of questions you ask them, what biases and prejudices you're looking to elicit.
Yeah, okay. Shannon, you've done a trial in both criminal side and the civil side. What do you think the differences might be?
Between criminal and civil?
Yeah.
Alex said it better. I don't really have a great answer. Can I ask how you connect with the jury? Do you do it one by one, or what's your method? What's your technique?
I mean, yeah, it's really hard. Don't try and be funny.
Yeah, I love
unless
it.
you're
Yeah.
really, really funny.
I love it. Did it go south on you? Is that?
Oh, yeah, that's how I learned. Yeah, it went wrong.
Do you remember? Tell us.
I don't remember exactly. I just remember going.
It's just you're traumatized to the
Yeah. Late at
again.
night when I'm trying to go to sleep, I think about it. Yeah. But I think.
I love it.
Well, it's like what any stand-up comedian probably
God.
feels when you tell a joke and everybody just sits there.
It just bombs. No, thank you.
But they don't have that level of trauma. I mean, they get back up and do it again.
Yeah.
Well,
like
right.
he's
because
never going to do that
there's
again.
way more on the line when the attorney's in front of the jury.
Yeah, just not just my dignity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to connect with them. I think instead of trying to do it from the beginning in a broad swath, I just, as it goes, as people start responding to me, I'll talk to the people who respond to me and try and riff off of them to get other people that aren't talking to respond. Because that's the most important thing, is to get people to talk.
I've seen that before. What do you think about what he said?
Yes.
Have you heard or ran into this? Can I ask a little something?
Yeah.
So this is a new concept for me. We're kind of living in a new world from when I was younger. Jurors are frightened. I had not known that until somebody clued me in that they think that we have their information, because remember those jury sheets?
Yeah.
They think, well, if they have it, then their client has it, and they can track me down, and I don't want to be on this. This I'm out. I'm scared. I don't want to have anything to do with this. You know what I mean?
Thought about that.
Yeah.
Well,
this is a thing, apparently.
When I was researching this, I read some of the history of jury trials. Well, back in year 1100 in England,
when I went to prom, I remember.
The jury was supposed to render...
I got Mark, he laughed.
The jury was supposed to render the verdict that the king wanted them to render. And sometimes they wouldn't. And so they would be punished.
That's a directed verdict. Sorry, Lord.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame you can't use your humor. I bet you're so funny.
I'm married to a lawyer, so I get to sometimes at home.
Yeah.
No, that's wild.
So they had to change that because, you don't get very willing participants if they're afraid. You don't want them to be afraid.
Do you think he had him killed, or what do you think happened?
I mean...
What was the punishment?
Quartering.
Or the stocks.
Quartering. Well, but you brought up a good point about jurors being worried about us having all that information. Yeah, we do. We have these jury information cards. It has, your name, your age, does it have age on there? It has age, which is not something that you can use to exclude somebody, so I don't know why they include it.
Right.
Your profession.
Right.
They're all questions that the juror answered themselves.
Yes, but so everybody knows that the lawyers, the defendants, the parties, we are not allowed to retain any of that information. They collect it all when jury selection is over. And I have even had, sheriff's deputies and bailiffs go through my file to make sure I didn't have any.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah, they're serious about it.
But if your defendant is sitting next to you, if your client is sitting next to you and you're there and you've got it all right there, I mean, you know what I mean? We're in a new world.
Don't worry about it unless you're on a murder trial. Sorry.
Well, yeah, that's the level of. I mean, you're dealing with violent offenses if you're in a criminal court. I guess that answers your question, Todd. You're welcome.
Violent offenses. And another big difference between civil and criminal juries.
Yeah.
Criminal juries are a lot easier to keep entertained.
Really?
Well,
because of the nature of the
subject matter of the case is a lot more interesting. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah, it's like people that watch,
true crime, or people that watch what are those TV shows where people are getting drunk and going wild? They get the real life version of what this guy did what?
But it can get super technical.
Oh, absolutely. You start getting into breath tests, ballistics. Oh, you start getting into accident reconstruction. I mean, trigonometry or calculus and physics. Yeah, it can get really complicated. Yeah, I'm sure it's difficult for jurors to understand everything, which is something that Kirk wanted me to ask about. Is a jury of my peers, are they really my peers nowadays?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
I guess that depends on who's standing trial.
Well, are you going to tell your story, too? Because that's a really good one.
I will. After the break, I'll tell a story about when I had a jury trial.
Was there supposed to be someone else here?
Kirk was supposed to be here, but he's MIA, and that's okay because we have you guys to entertain us. But after the break, we're going to talk about opening versus closing. We'll talk about how much evidence you need to present to a jury. We'll talk about all the prep that goes into it. And we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with Shannon Roberta Salmon-Haas and Alex Vollmer. We've been talking about the difference between criminal and civil juries. We were supposed to talk about O.J. Simpson, so we have to bring that up too. I'm going to tell a story about a time when I had a jury trial. It was an eviction case. I represented the landlord, and you were talking about preparing for a trial. I went through everything, and just like every other area of my life, God carried me.
Oh, nice.
And so it was so bizarre. I was reading everything that I could to prepare for this, and then somehow I had to, because I was a member of Rotary, had to call somebody in another Rotary club who just happened to be like a lawyer or a judge or something, and I was just complaining that I was going to do this eviction case, and the person said, well, when the issue's eviction, you can't talk about anything else. There were lots of other complaints that the tenants had about.
Oh, I see.
About the tenancy.
Right.
And that cleared the air for me.
Nice.
And so I was able to go to that trial. Confident because
love it.
The opposing counsel had told me over the phone.
Oh, who is it? Are you allowed to say?
No.
Oh.
That he was going to tear my client's heart out.
I bet I know them.
Over an eviction?
It's a very small world. Back in the day,
Yeah.
it's a very, very small world. There's just one or two that were in that realm doing those.
And so I was like, gosh, that sounds horrible. But I didn't know what to do with that information, so I just put it aside. And
oh, goodness.
In the Justice of the Peace Court, I think the jury was 6 people, and you're allowed to strike some of them. This was all new to me back then.
Strike means remove from the jury, not hit.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for saying that. Well, I only had one question. I said, how many of you are homeowners? And all but one answered in the affirmative, and so I excluded the one that was not a homeowner. And I figured that was the only question I needed.
Right. Why overdo it? Yeah.
Right. Plus, I didn't know anything else.
How long ago was this now?
Like 100 years ago.
Have you thought of a good comeback yet to the guy's wacky threat that he tried to aggress you?
I'm just not clever enough to.
There was never that night where at 2 a.m. you're like, and you want to call him up. And
the French call it the moment d'escalier, when you're leaving an argument going down the stairs and you realize what you should have said.
Yeah. Seinfeld calls it the George.
Yeah. When George said, jerk store.
Well, come on. You're witty. What would you have said?
If someone told me they were going to eat my client's heart,
rip it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Rip out my client's heart.
Yeah.
Oh, something along. I don't know. You'll have to go through me first, and good luck finding it.
Ooh, tell it. Love it.
Yeah, Alex is a sweet guy on the outside.
If someone
but he's tough.
came at me like that, I'd probably would just go okay and hang up the phone.
Yeah, you'd be so taken aback, right?
I know, yeah.
So odd.
I have gotten very angry in a mediation. There was a bad contractor case, and I was representing the homeowner.
I can get worked up.
Why can I not even imagine you angry?
And
I've seen it.
I think that
Really?
this other attorney was just like poking me, and I stood up and I said, "Don't talk to my client that way." And then I sat down, and the mediator was, trying to get us. I don't know.
Wow, that is amazing.
I mean,
I was trying to picture you angry, and you just had like one eyebrow like slightly raised, like 1 centimeter more than normal.
I wish I could do that.
Well, sometimes you have to react, or the client doesn't think you're doing a good job, and
good point,
sometimes
yeah.
that's unreasonable.
Yeah.
I was at a hearing. This was a family law divorce type case.
Oh, the fun ones, yeah.
And I don't even remember what the issue was, but when we left, the client was like, "You're fired."
Wow.
And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, you didn't even advocate for me."
Oh, gosh.
I said, the judge didn't want to hear from me.
Right.
It was over. This isn't something that we can argue about.
Picture it like on TV.
Right.
Like, yeah.
He probably wanted more time or whatever, and attorneys usually get more time if they ask for it.
I would never say names, but I know 2 lawyers that are very good friends that will go have a pretend fight to impress their clients.
Oh, okay.
Because the clients love it. They think like, wow, I'm really... And
you throw down your legal pad.
Yeah.
Pound the facts.
Sort of like a baseball game, when the coach is yelling at the umpire and saying, "I'm going to take you to dinner after this game."
Yeah.
But the time... I'm going to take you to dinner. But the times that are really real in court, it's not theatrics.
No.
It's the law. When you
Well,
prepared last night and you said, here's the law and here's the case law, and, it's not glamorous.
If you start with theatrics in court, you're going to get smacked down by the judge real quick, real fast, Don't you think? The judges don't like theatrics.
I do have one story of where theatrics worked when I saw that it worked. I have time.
Yeah.
So I can't remember his name, which is good because I wouldn't want to say his name either, but he was an old school criminal defense attorney. You would know the name. Like if you saw him, you would recognize him. Always there, really good. And something happened. I can't even remember, but I was observing because I liked to learn back then. And I
Still do, but you did then too.
Thank you. So he took off his glasses in a typical, like he did the whole thing. He was like, I can't believe, he was throwing his theatrics through the roof. I can't believe you would do that. How could you let it? And the judge said,
Was this a criminal trial?
Yeah.
There you go.
Judge said, do you need a minute to calm down? Yes, I do. I need a minute to collect my thoughts. And I'm in all my 53 years, I've never, and so he went out. When he came back, he had a yellow pad and he read off the clearly delineated, like under the Fourth Amendment and the I object under, and he went on for like 20 minutes, and I realized that he had done his whole little show because he didn't have his list yet of all the constitutional objections he wanted to make. So he went out, checked, he did U.S. Constitution and Texas Constitution, and it was gorgeous, and he came,
He
back
just needed time to write it all down.
Yeah, so it was planned, I guess.
Well, my experience in criminal trial, I've been the defense attorney and I've been the prosecutor. As a prosecutor, you cannot yell, you cannot scream. You have to be very matter of fact. I am here for the law. I'm here for this. I'm here for that.
You're right. Defense attorneys probably get a little more leeway, right?
If that's all you have, yes, defense attorneys for criminal cases, and I've done it, you get incensed for your client. You have to.
Yeah.
Because the deck is already stacked against you because of, reality most of the time. These agencies are very good at collecting evidence. But that's where that emotion, the theatrics pay off.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's legitimate.
Yeah, and jurors, I would imagine, just like any normal person, could probably tell if you're faking it. So if it seems authentic, then you might put some credibility in that.
I got a little worked up during closing argument during our most recent civil trial. I was upset that we had to be there.
Yeah,
that it was forced to go that far.
Yeah, well, you bring that point out. That's good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about preparing for trial.
Yeah. boy, that's my least favorite part of a trial is well, not the preparing, but everything leading up to it. Motions, discovery, all that stuff. It's very technical. But when talking about preparing for trial, yeah, it's very time intensive. And, I used to be a solo practitioner, and now that, I'm with the firm that, we have the support staff that we do, I wouldn't have been able to do as good a job as I did without the support of like our chief paralegal, Cheryl, our paralegal, Catherine, and everybody, our records custodian, William, our front office staff. We can't do it without them. Not to the level of quality that we do.
Yeah, it was a big help and allowed you to focus on more technical things.
Everybody in the office, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I love that so much.
Another question that Kirk had was, if justice is blind, why do we need to see the jury, and why does the jury need to even see the parties to the case?
Like, why don't we just have a totally anonymized, behind like the identity protected interviewer from the mafia kind of, I don't know.
Disguised voice and silhouettes.
I mean, that might violate the confrontation clause.
Well, plus, I think that as the trier of fact, the jury needs to see the parties important, so that they can assess the credibility of what they're saying. There's
a lot of information in a facial expression or body language. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that makes... Yeah.
You ever think that somebody was lying? Shannon?
I don't know if I should confess this on air, but I'm not... that's not really my personality. I usually accept people at face value. I have a friend that he automatically thinks everybody's lying. It's just his personality.
Well, I was in a hearing with another attorney who said that somebody stole his laptop the night before and he was not prepared. And I said, Judge, he's lying. And the judge said, let's take a break.
Oh my gosh.
Be right back.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that.
Secure your future today with Marquardt Law Firm. Gain peace of mind with a free consultation, crafting wills, trusts, and vital estate plans, guidance on elder law, Medicaid, veteran benefits, and more. Shield against legal hassles with their defense against Medicaid estate recovery. Trust in their proficiency for business law solutions, contracts, incorporations, and more. Empower your tomorrow. For info, go to marquardtlawfirm.com. That's marquardtlawfirm.com.
9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, on the radio, on podcasts, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on talklawradio.com. Do us a favor and go to YouTube and search for Talk Law Radio and look for the Lady Justice logo in the red, white, and blue colors and click subscribe. Also, go on Instagram and search for Shannon Roberta San Antonio. I keep thinking, I don't know how many names you have in there. Just your first and your middle.
Yeah.
San Antonio.
On Instagram, it's Shannon Roberta San Antonio.
And follow Shannon because she's the Mr. Rogers of attorneys here in San Antonio, and she'll make you feel all good.
Feel
Such
better.
A good feeling to know you're alive. I don't know the rest of the song. That's the Mr. Rogers song.
It is, yeah. Very lovely rendition.
Yeah, so I was telling the story of when I had a bench trial and I alleged to the judge that the other attorney was lying about having his laptop stolen. Well, that was just one hearing. There was another hearing where I was trying to introduce photographs. And I wasn't doing it correctly, and so the other attorney, he did know how to object to somebody who couldn't lay a foundation for photographs, and so the judge called a recess, and we both went into his office, and like coached me through how to introduce a photograph.
Okay.
Because it was just painful. We were going to be there all day, all week until I figured out how to.
I was trying to introduce a document at this most recent trial, and I have introduced a lot of documents, and I got the order wrong. So I had to correct myself, but I've done it a million times. That's the secret. Nobody that's watching knows that you haven't done it right.
Yeah. Well, when there's objection sustained, that's something that people can follow. We want to go back to O.J. Simpson because that's such a well-known scenario. It kind of highlights the differences between the criminal justice system and the civil justice system. So first, there was the criminal trial in California, and they brought out the tiny gloves, and poor O.J. couldn't fit his hand in the gloves, and so he was acquitted. What does that mean?
In the most technical sense, it means that the prosecution did not prove each and every element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. That's what it means. It doesn't mean innocent. It doesn't mean anything other than the prosecution did not prove their case, according to the jury.
And so then why didn't the prosecution just start a new trial?
Well, that would be illegal. No, that would be the... oh, my God, I'm blanking.
Double jeopardy.
Double jeopardy. Thank you.
You're cool.
Yeah, that'd be double jeopardy.
When your brain is so full, sometimes it has to...
During the bar exam, I forgot the word suppress.
Oh, no, it happens to me all the time.
So, yeah. So that would violate double jeopardy. Once a verdict has been reached, you can't retry somebody for the crime because you didn't like the verdict. You get one bite at the apple.
Okay. And so then after that, the surviving heirs to Nicole Brown Simpson filed a civil suit against him for wrongful death. And there's a different standard of proof there. Shannon, what's the difference between criminal and civil?
Well, preponderance of the evidence is the civil standard, and so it's not quite as strict as reasonable doubt. But on the you have a vast, you have a lot more trial experience than I do. But on the few times that I have done trials, I liked to show jurors how high that reasonable doubt standard is by saying that the preponderance of the evidence standard, the civil standard, is below it, and that is enough to terminate forever your rights to your children. And so I like to have parents on the panel because obviously every parent, that is one of their worst nightmares, if there was like a legal procedure that could forever terminate your rights to your own children.
Yeah.
That is a preponderance of the evidence standard. So reasonable doubt is above that. So if you were on that side, on the defense side, that's kind of a good strategy to help people try and get it up there, think about how high it actually is.
If you're on the defense side, you want beyond a reasonable doubt that the prosecution has to get above that. You want that to be as high as possible.
Right.
And so there's even a standard of proof, a burden of proof in between preponderance and beyond a reasonable doubt called clear and convincing.
Oh, I forgot about clear and convincing. You're right. Yeah.
And so that muddies it up even more. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So clear and convincing, okay, well, so preponderance of the evidence is more likely than not.
Right.
Clear and convincing, okay, beyond a reasonable doubt. What's the difference between those?
Well, now I'm second-guessing what I said. I can't remember. When I did my trials, I was prepared. But now I can't remember. For termination, is it clear and convincing?
Yeah.
You're the Jewish people would call you a mensch. You're a mensch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's a good point to make for parents out there that if somebody alleges you're a bad parent, you might not go to jail, but you could lose your children. And so I think, lots of young people need to know that they need to, do a good job. You probably feel bad for people that lose their kids.
Oh, gosh, yes, I feel bad for everybody. We had this conversation. Everybody. I have too much empathy, I think.
I represented the unknown father in a few cases, and, I've heard some tragic, horrifying stories where the children are hopefully better off without those parents.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we have to have these laws, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some circumstances where you can feel sorry for somebody who is having their children taken away. They're struggling with addiction, or they don't have enough money to feed them. I mean, I can get that. That's like when I was a prosecutor. They can't fire me for this now. If I was looking at a case for theft, we would get a lot of cases for theft, and people were charged with stealing like diapers and formula.
Wow.
Those people got breaks. Like I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Hammering people for that. They were stealing, but
what are prosecutors supposed to be doing? Winning or finding justice?
Right.
Is there
when you take your oath as a prosecutor, you're supposed to seek justice, not mere convictions. And I think that it's real easy to lose sight of that.
And there's prosecutorial discretion.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, but you have to remember that these prosecutors are all employed by an elected official. That's all I'm going to say. Mm-hmm. So that is a factor.
Well,
and it's at-will employment.
Before I started law school, I was working for a casino in Mescalero, New Mexico.
This always cracks me up.
And
doing what?
Blackjack.
He was a dealer.
Yeah, but there's
a poker face.
There's a whole training process for that.
Oh, Todd,
because
that is so
do you
cool.
know how hard it is to pay a blackjack? If you got $22.50 out there, it's hard to pay. You have to do math in your head. Well, anyway, we were all training, people from all walks of life wanting to be blackjack dealers. And one of the guys said that he walked into the grocery store, grabbed a package of diapers, and just walked out. And I said, God bless.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that people had that same struggle. But Eminem rapped about it in one of his songs I heard recently. It's an old song. I don't listen to Eminem very often. But he said in his song that food stamps don't buy diapers. So this isn't
I'm not often a gangster, but when I am, I listen to Eminem.
This is an issue for me that... Yes, I think that young parents with no money should have a resource, and I think that there are some nonprofits here in town.
Oh yeah,
that have like a diaper bank.
Absolutely,
like formula.
Yeah, any kid can. Things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we should get them on this show. Okay, well, let's keep talking about jury trials. It's guaranteed to us under the U.S. Constitution. Article 3, Section 2, says the trial of all crimes except in cases of impeachment shall be by jury. Then there's the Sixth Amendment. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed. But what I really liked about the history of jury trials is in the old country, the law was common law.
Oh,
right?
The old country. I remember the old country. I remember it well. It smells of soup.
And it was handed down by the courts. And so there was a man named Blackstone that wrote commentaries about the common law. And it was sort of the first method of codifying the law. And he wrote of trial by jury as, quote, the glory of the English law. It is the most transcendent privilege which any subject can enjoy or wish for, that he cannot be, I don't know what that word's supposed to be, can't lose his property, his liberty, or his person, but by the unanimous consent of 12 of his neighbors and equal.
I also have no idea what that word is.
I think it's affected.
AFFECED.
I think there's just missing a T.
Huh.
Anyway.
That could be.
So that's some of the history. I also studied 12 Angry Men to prepare for this. Alex, you really need to see it because when you do get to be picked as foreman, you're going to want to know how to change everybody's mind.
I will never get put on a jury. It sucks. I would love to be on a jury, but I mean, it's just low likelihood. I'm going to get struck. Somebody's going to strike me for cause.
Professor at St. Mary's, Johnson.
Vinnie Johnson?
Yes, Vincent Johnson. He said he was the foreman one time. He couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
None of those attorneys must have been from St. Mary's.
That they let him do it. Oh, by the way, I watched the new Reagan movie last night.
Oh, wow.
With Dennis Quaid. And it was awesome.
Oh, good.
Y'all should go see it. Now, because conservatives are discriminated against in San Antonio, they put it in the smallest theater, so I had to walk all the way down the hall. But you should go see it. It's definitely a good movie to see.
Oh, tell us again how you had to walk, Todd, all the way down the hall.
Thank you guys for being on the radio with me today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So fun.
Always fun.
I hope everybody learned about jury trials. Stay tuned for next week. Next Sunday night or evening, I'll be talking about Lady Bird deeds on Sunday at 4:30 in the afternoon. Talk to you later.
And